All right, it was an amazing night in the UEFA Champions League, and well, it is a COVID edition of the UEFA Champions League. The amazing thing was the fact that a Frenchman broke the heart of French people, Kingsley Coman. And I saw a tweet by Precious Omusuwe who said that Kingsley Coman, a Frenchman, scored against the French team, and Drasler was coming in, who's a German, was coming in for the French team. Let's see if he would score. Unfortunately, he did not. The three players that the Parisians put their hope on, Kylian Mbappe, Neymar Jr. and Angel Di Maria. Angel, the angel from Argentina, could not fly because there are no female angel, even though feminists would not agree to it. But if we go by the Bible, there's actually no female angel. And some people say when a man calls you an angel, he's lying to you. Well, that's exactly what happened, because when you have an angel that is called Maria, there's definitely going to be a problem. Well, there's no Formula One this weekend, but definitely Lewis Hamilton has been talking about racism and everybody's been joining. But I think that this talk about racism, this is my opinion, you might not like it. This talk about racism to me is global foolishness and black people calling for self-pity. Let's get past that. I've always said that the strength of black people is in ownership. If we get into ownership, all of this racism will end. You know why? Because money does not have color. Yes, money does not have color. No matter how you hate people, the sound of the dollar is the same, whether you're black or you're white. Well, we'll get past that. The man is not going to talk about racism. He's not going to talk about Formula One, but he's got a new show, a breakaway show called Bad Carbon. There is a lot about your car that you don't know, a whole lot about your car, things that can save you fuel, things that can save your life, things that can protect you, how you can manage your car, especially when you're driving in a city like Lagos or across the globe, anywhere, whether you're driving in Mexico, Venezuela, US, or in Asia. There's something for this man to tell you. I'm talking about Francis Nzene. The biggest moment in sports right now, apart from the Champions League, is obviously the NBA playoff, and it's going down. Last week, this man was on the show and he predicted, Ayotunde Onabolu predicted that the Lakers were going to lose their first game against the Trailblazers, and true to type, Nostradamulously, it happened. Or probably you can call him the basketball octopus, but I said that I've not seen anybody talk basketball half as good as he does. He's a genius, he's a wonderful man. We call him the clutch time man. Ayotunde Onabolu, all of these guys are on the show with me today, but straight off, we're going to hit it off. You see me wearing my Bayern jersey. You know our affiliation at ELEGBETE TV with Bayern Munich. So we're going to hit it straight off and talk about the Champions League. So let me start with you, Francis. Francis, I heard a little birdie told me that you were sleeping when the Champions League was going on. How true was that? Please report yourself. Francis, we can't hear you. Where's Francis? Francis is Nzene.
Sorry, I didn't get what you said.
Okay, I said a little.
Yeah, I didn't get what you said.
A little birdie told me that you were sleeping while the Champions League was going on. How true was that? As a matter of fact, this fish inside this fish bowl told me that.
Very true. Very true. In all honesty, I don't know who is playing the final for the Champions League.
Okay.
I don't believe what I'm hearing. Backers, but the other team, I don't know who plays.
Okay. Good. We heard that you have a show called Bad Carbon. We'll come to that, but before we get to that, let me go to you, Ayotunde Onabolu. Ayo, you seem to have gotten all your predictions accurately and correct, and I follow your tweets and you know how you see this game. Come on, I do a whole lot of predicting too, so sometimes this doesn't really surprise me. But the way you move around basketball is still, you still manage to entertain and thrill me a whole lot. Give us a little peek, because I'm saving the Champions League for later. Give us a little peek into what is in store for us today in the NBA.
Well, after the Lakers lost their first game to the Trailblazers, they stormed back. They've won the last two. Game 3 was particularly impressive because LeBron James reminded us that he's still the king. Anthony Davis made life difficult for Yusuf Nurkic and Hassan Whiteside. And we saw the emergence of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who seemed to supply, third string scoring for the Lakers, something they've needed so much. He shot very well from three-point land, something the Lakers have not enjoyed. But beyond their offensive...
Oh, sorry about that.
Found joy in the last two games against the Lakers. And somehow, I feel like the Trailblazers may not win another single game until the end of the first round. The Lakers are looking so well oiled. It looks like they've hit the gear they've been trying to hit. They found the momentum they've been trying to find. And I don't know who's going to stop them right now. But for the Los Angeles Clippers and of course the Dallas Mavericks, that's crazy. Game one, the Clippers won, and a lot of people argued it was because Kristaps Porzingis was ejected in the game for two questionable technical fouls. A whole lot of us have said he didn't deserve to be ejected. Finals MVP, the Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. A lot of us didn't think he deserved to be ejected. But then the Mavericks lost the first game. Game two, the Mavericks came and they won. Game three, the Clippers managed to win in the end. Game four is going on right now. And, you know, the Clippers were leading the Mavericks by over 20. But right now, the Mavericks have stormed back. And I don't know where this series is headed. It looks like one that may go 7 games. And guess what? Kristaps Porzingis is even injured. He's not playing at all in this game four. So a lot of madness is about to go down in this series. But elsewhere, Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia
Let me hold you there. Let me hold you there. Ayo, let me hold you there because you will download all of that for us later. Let's go into the Champions League.
Okay.
You are in the US,
okay.
San Antonio, Texas. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria, somewhere in Aja. Precious is somewhere in Ikorodu in Lagos, Nigeria. Francis is somewhere around that vicinity as well. How was the day? Like, how was the reaction in the US? Because, I mean, it's played here. For us, it is nighttime. For you guys, it is evening or afternoon going into the evening. How was it? I mean, you closed from church, and what was the pocket conversation they were having about the Champions League over there? Because, I mean, there is Davis. There is Davis, and Alphonso Davis, even though he's Liberian, who passed through a refugee camp in Ghana to go over there. But he played in the MLS, so there's the American interest. Let's say
absolutely.
Conversation.
You know, like the British media, right? Anytime you see Bayern Munich going to play, it's as if the whole of the United States is in support of them because of Davies, right? So the buzz has been there in the press. Everyone who likes to talk about soccer has been talking about soccer. We know soccer or football. They call it soccer here. You know, football is not the biggest sport here in the United States of America. But when an American is involved, it looks like the whole world of Americans will try to rally around. And it's a bit different and more intense here in San Antonio because the majority of the population here is Spanish. And you know, if there's one ethnic group that loves football so much, it has to be the Spanish. So the buzz here in San Antonio is insane. I can tell you. I mean, it feels like I'm in Nigeria right now trying to enjoy the Champions League final. That exactly. So one buzz was the fact that Davis was playing, but the other buzz was, it's soccer, it's football. Come on, man. We have to play. It's almost removed the San Antonio Spurs from San Antonio. Nobody is caring about anything again. There's no American football team here, no Major League Baseball team here. Soccer, football is the main order of the day. And the hype was crazy here, trust me.
All right, Ayo, let me ask you this. Because you're in San Antonio and you're surrounded by a lot of Hispanic people, have you eaten tacos or guacamoles?
Of course.
Okay.
There's no way you can live in San Antonio without eating. Let me just tell you the truth. I still ate taco in church this morning. It's a normal Sunday thing for me.
Okay, so let's get past that. Let me go to Precious. Precious Omusuwe. I'm going to start with you on Thiago Silva. Chelsea, your club, is in love with Thiago Silva, and we hear that they want to sign Thiago Silva. My constellation is the fact that Thiago Silva is 35 years old, and for a club that let David Luiz go, for a club that let Peter Cech go, for a club that let Willian go, coincidentally, all of this let go that I'm talking about from Ferro's camp all went to Arsenal, even though Arsenal is not a promised land. Now, I need to understand why Chelsea is interested in Thiago Silva. And now that Paris Saint-Germain lost the final, do you think that is still the player that they need to sign?
Okay, yeah. Let's travel back a little bit. Chelsea made a mistake at the start of last season when the start of the season before last, when they offered David Luiz a 2-year deal, thereby breaking the club's policy of not giving players above the age of 30 a deal of more than 1 year. And in that same window, David Luiz jumped ship and moved to Arsenal. David Luiz is Willian's best friend. They're childhood friends, and they co-own a restaurant in London. Okay, and the moment Luiz left for Arsenal, Willian, who had his contract running out, started angling out for a 3-year deal, knowing fully well that the club, there was no way Chelsea was going to give Willian a 3-year deal. Having experienced what happened with David Luiz. So I think from the onset, Willian had his mindset already on joining David Luiz at Arsenal. And it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm not one of those who criticize Willian for the move. Willian was on less than 150,000 at Chelsea. At Arsenal, he's going to be earning 220,000, and it's a guaranteed 3-year deal. It makes a whole lot of economic sense for his family, so it's a good one. Now, coming down to Thiago Silva, having watched the Champions League final today, Thiago Silva is going to be 36 next month.
Yeah.
And he's not the fastest player. However, if you watched the game today, he put in a stellar performance.
Yeah.
And there is no team in the Premier League, I say this authoritatively, there's no team in the Premier League that is as good as Bayern. There's no team in the Premier League that is going to come with you with so much pace like the way Bayern attacked the PSG backline today. But Thiago Silva actually did put in a stellar performance. And the reason why, for me, it's not so much of a concern if Chelsea will eventually sign him. Eventually, because they still have to beat off competition from Fiorentina to get his signature. The reason why it will be a good deal is if you watch the game today, Thiago Silva does not dive into tackles. He's not the kind of player who goes to ground easily to challenge for the ball. What that means is that he has very good positional awareness, and then he doesn't have to depend so much on pace to discharge his duties as a center back. That's similar to what John Terry used to be. Terry was not the fastest, but his positional awareness was excellent. Is that what Chelsea needs this season? I think he's not going to last you the whole season because, of course, the body will tell. Yeah. But then one of the major things the Chelsea backline lacked is leadership. And the likes of Rudiger, Zuma, Christensen, they looked decent under Sarri because there was a certain David Luiz who was there commanding the backline. So if they can get another leader who will more or less coach them on the pitch, they are not really that bad. It's similar to what Liverpool, even though Van Dijk is a much, much younger player, it's similar to what Liverpool did with Van Dijk, bringing him in to steady the ship at the back. Yeah, so I think it's going to represent a good deal, short-term deal, because it's not going to hamper the development of any of their young players like Fikayo Tomori, for example, who I personally think has the highest ceiling among Chelsea's current centre-backs. Yeah, and then there is also the potential for Dayot Upamecano. Upamecano has a 52 million euros release clause that comes into play next season. I know there are going to be so many teams angling for his signature, especially if he continues with the kind of stellar form he ended this season with. Yeah, so these are the possibilities. A short-term fix for Chelsea center back like Thiago Silva is a good one. It also makes sense for financial fair play because it's going to be coming cheap. So if you look at the fact that they've spent 35 million for Ziyech, they've spent about 50 million for Timo Werner, and they're going to likely be paying 90 million euros for Kai Havertz. It makes a whole lot of sense that they go with safer options in the center back position.
Okay. Sorry to cut you. I mean, I was listening to Precious about his assessment of Thiago Silva, and I'm thinking, if there's one football league in Europe that is unforgiving when it comes to you not being able to defend well, it's probably the Premier League. I'm thinking, I'm asking you now directly, would you support, ELEGBETE, would you support the idea of making do with Thiago Silva perhaps for one season because of the leadership he brings, not considering his apparent drop in athleticism, the fact that the Premier League is probably quicker than anything he's played in France and perhaps even in the Champions League, with the kind of, madness that goes on in English football right now. Do you think that's the answer to Chelsea's issues at the back?
Well, I was surprised that Precious said all of what he said, because for me, this is my take on that matter. I think it's a wrong decision because they're placing the cart before the horse here, and it's not going to run. This is my opinion. I might be wrong, and I'll be glad if you prove me wrong. So all of this calculation that Precious just made now is predicated on the fact that he comes in, he brings his leadership quality, he brings his experience, and then the rest of the team gel. First off, they don't have a big hand goalkeeper like they used to have in Peter Cech, Thibaut Courtois, and the rest of them. So they really need good covering in defense. What's it called? Coach Zuma, Christensen, and whoever is in that defense really does not hold it tight. So teams like Wolves would outmuscle you. Teams like Man City would not forgive you when you give them the opportunity to run at you. Liverpool are still coming. And now let's say, hypothetically, all of these players, Kai Havertz work, Ziyech works, Timo Werner works, they go forward scoring, but every shot on target for Chelsea, they concede a goal. They fall out of the top four. And then a team like Arsenal or any other of the teams make the top four. Man City, Chelsea does not make the top four. All of those players that you're hoping that you're going to sign most likely will no longer come to Chelsea, because at that time, Arsenal will also be in the market to sign a player like the Upamecano that everybody is now talking about. So I think it's a gamble that might not pay off at the end of the day. And those kind of gamble, for me, fix the immediate problem you have. Because going forward last season, the season that just ended, Chelsea were not overtly bad. First half of the season was Tammy Abraham's show. Second end of the season, post-coronavirus, it was Olivier Giroud. Now find a way to get Ziyech, creativity into the team, Timo Werner to add more goals and all that. But why are you still going for Havertz? Because that 90 million will bring in Upamecano right now. And then next season, you can go for Kai Havertz. Because if you already have Tammy Abraham, you have Olivier Giroud, you're now having Timo Werner, and then you see have Ziyech's creativity. I think you have enough player going forward already. A player playing for Leverkusen does not have, really much to do. So if you bring in that kind of player, I'm worried for Chelsea. That's my own take. I'm worried for Chelsea. But that said, let's jump into the Champions League. Bayern Munich set a record of 11 straight wins in the UEFA Champions League. No team have done that. Yes, the excuse is going to be there were no home and away legs in the latter stages of the competition. But believe you me, all of the teams that they met in the latter stage, from quarterfinals to semifinals, and before they got to the finals, if it was a two-leg, Bayern had the capability to dismantle all of those teams home and away. They would have beaten Barcelona home and away. That Barcelona team was horrible. They would have beaten, what's the team they played after Barcelona again? Lyon. They would have beaten that Lyon team home and away. Maybe away they would have struggled, but maybe 1-0 they would have won because of the form that they are in. But then they became the team, the first team to play all rounds of their matches in the UEFA Champions League without losing or drawing a game. So they didn't drop points in this competition. When you look at that team, now they have a coach. They've won the treble twice. They have a coach who just came in less than a year, taken over from Kovacic, and is won it. What is the, adding Leroy Sané to this squad and looking at how they are going? Is there a chink in the armor?
Okay, yeah, for me, yeah, I think it's scary if you think about the potential of what Bayern Munich will do next season. The only challenge for me, if I were a Bayern fan, would be the fact that Thiago is looking likely to join Liverpool. That would be the only challenge, because it means they need to get Thiago's boots is very difficult to fill. Yeah, actually, that's actually one of the players. I don't know why Barcelona is not running after him to resign him to the club. Yeah, so but looking at the game today itself, let's try to break the game today in pieces.
Yeah,
I think this game, the first half, PSG could have won this game.
Sure.
Thomas Tuchel got his tactics spot on. He got his tactics spot on today. The best way to beat this Bayern team is to break the press with runners in behind the defenders. And they did that time and again today. Mbappe had a lot of chances. His decision-making actually let him down. He's young, and I think he will learn. So I don't want to overly criticize him. Yeah, he wasted his chances. But for me, the key moment in the game today was when Angel Di Maria and Mbappe switched position. Alphonso Davies is a beast. You don't want that guy running at your back line. He's trouble. Kingsley Coman is also a very fast player. So imagine a duo of Alphonso Davies and Kingsley Coman running at your back line. It's not a sight to behold. In the first half, Angel Di Maria, a left-footed player who also has some very decent amount of pace, kept Davies at the back. He gave him so much work to do. If you watch the game technically, you will find that anytime Di Maria had the ball, he was cutting into the field, onto David's weaker right foot, making it very difficult for David to mark Di Maria. Now, in the second half, I mean, if they had kept on that, Davis was literally a walking red card in that game.
Yeah.
It was just a red card waiting to happen. They switched play. Mbappe came over to the right-hand side. Mbappe is a predominantly right-footed player. He's one-dimensional. If he cannot beat you with pace, he doesn't possess the kind of trickery that Neymar has. And because he's predominantly right-footed, the tendency is for him to open the game towards the touchline. That was the tendency. And for a right-footed player, opening the game towards the touchline means you are cutting to Davies' stronger foot. And there's no way in the world you are going to beat that guy for pace. Mbappe literally became a spectator in that match. For me, that was the key moment in the game. And they started to overload PSG's right back. That was how the goal came, actually.
Okay. Okay. No, go ahead.
Please go on. Please go. No, please go on.
No. I wanted to say that there was also, I wanted to jump to Ayo and ask him, what was the role of Neymar in today's game? Because Neymar was the guy who was like, oh, this is the ace in the park. This was the guy who was the ace of diamond or ace of spades or ace of hearts, whatever it is. It was the 4 ace in this game. It was the guy who was the key to unlock it. It was Dr. Strange. It was the one who would work his magic and open up the spaces. But Dr. Strange didn't come with his ring.
You know, I agree with Precious's assessment. You know, talking about the role switching between Angel Di Maria and Kylian Mbappe. But I was expecting and I was waiting and hoping that he would touch on Neymar's absence and anonymity, especially in the second half, which was why I was totally annoyed when I saw him crying after the game, because I was asking myself, bro, what exactly did you do? You know, what exactly was your role? He looked fragile many times. He looked indecisive many times. Yeah, there were times he showed flashes of some good vision with his short passing, but generally, I thought it was disappointing on the night. And now they say he's still trying to grow. Perhaps this is one of the games you will look at and try to learn from going forward, because I didn't think PSG deserved to win, especially based on their performance in the second half. They looked clueless. You know, many times when you're trailing by a goal, you're looking for a goal to get an equalizer. And we've seen so many games in our lifetimes where the team trailing put on a lot of extensive pressure. Like, the pressure is on. You see the opposing coach beckoning to the referee, "Oga, time is up. Call the time up." There was no such moment for PSG today in the concluding stages of the game. And Neymar, who you would think would, at that point, try to gain some more energy, get the ball, and he's trying to win set pieces for your team by running at the Bayern defense. He just looked like a shadow of himself. So I don't know who to blame for that. He didn't play his own part, definitely. The coach has to take the blame for switching tactics that looks to be very powerful, because in that first half, like Precious rightly said, PSG could have put this game to bed. They had 2-3 glaring chances where they could have scored, and they didn't take the opportunities.
All right, Ayo, let me put a pause to you there, and while you get ready to give us basketball matter. Now let's get to bad carbon. Francis, I've kept you in the cooler for so long. Sorry, we're enjoying the football talk. You were sleeping when the game was going on, so I didn't want to bother you. But I know that when it comes to cars, even in your sleep, you will do a lot better than a professor in the classroom. So we're going to bow to you right now. We're going to give you the podium, part the Red Sea for us, unstop deaf ears, walk on top of water. Tell us, what is happening? What is bad carbon? I hear you talking about about cars, and I know that Alibaba likes car shoes a lot, and Alibaba's got 5 Hummer, Mercedes-Benz, and a whole lot of cars. He's the kind of guy that I would hook you up with and say, okay, come and give us assessment of his cars and all that. But what is bad carbon really all about?
Okay, so I hope you can hear me. Bad carbon is as Precious has been saying, a stellar show. It's one of a kind in Nigeria. I only know one person who is trying to do something like that, and she's quite good. Honestly, she's quite good. But in Africa, we do not know, I think, except South Africans, but in Africa generally, and Nigeria particularly, we do not know how to pick the right card for the right moment, for the right things, the right usage. We just pick cars for the fun of, it's what is raining, and that's what my neighbor is using. It looks balanced. You cannot know if a car is balanced from how it looks, honestly. Like the Hummer that you mentioned, that I think Alibaba has Hummer, it is the most unaerodynamically made car ever, like in the world at the moment that is in usage, So bad carbon just is here to tell people, what car you should get for the right job. Your car should be bent on your activities, where you go, where you live, where you work, your commute daily, and your preference generally, not just that car is good and then after 3 years you really hate the car. A car should live with you for about 5 to 10 years if possible. And that's what bad carbon is here to do. Tell you about the power, safety features, and then bring in some infotainment and entertainment and information, and bring in some challenges and make the whole thing delicious while you're consuming it. That's what bad carbon is here for.
All right, thank you very much. Francis, I know that we are already setting up our radio studio, and by mid-September, we should be up and running before the Premier League starts. I think when we get into the studio, we'll get the graphics. For those who are watching, the graphics of Bad Carbon were available. But if people want to watch, I know that the first episode is out already, and the second episode is going to come. If people want to watch what you're doing on Bad Carbon, how do they go watch it?
It's quite easy. It's on the app that we are all using, and it's free. It's on Instagram. You just go to the handle at the Bad Carbon. Once you click on the Bad Carbon, you see the first episode. The first few episodes will be posted whole on Instagram, and it's quite short, so you can easily digest it. In fact, people were complaining that the first episode was too short, and I was like, too short? People, that means they enjoyed it. So it's on Instagram at the Bad Carbon. That's just it.
So BADCARBON, right? At the Bad Carbon.
Yes, that's
all right. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the court. Let's go to the court and say the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's no bad carbon in the court, but there are some bad players in the court and some bad bats, some evil players. So from the king of the NBA, Ayotunde Onabolu, you started this show by giving us a glimpse. Now give us the photos.
Yeah, so I'll just do a quick wrap of the first round. The Boston Celtics are already through to the Eastern Conference semifinals. They swept Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'm going to make a bold prediction here. 2 predictions, in fact. Number 1, the Philadelphia 76ers will fire their coach, Brett Brown. There was the hashtag trust the process with Joel Embiid as he made his, debut in the NBA 3 years ago. Last season, he helped the team get to the Eastern Conference finals, Eastern Conference semifinals, I beg your pardon, where they lost in Game 7 to Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors with that very famous buzzer beater. And you thought they would take it a step further. The season started, but they struggled, weren't winning away games. Ben Simmons gets injured in the bubble, and then Joel Embiid and the 76ers are swept. I think the Philadelphia 76ers front office would have run out of patience. I think Brett Brown will be fired. And number 2 bold prediction, Joel Embiid will demand for a trade, even though after the game he came out to say there's no problems, we are good, we just lost the game. No, he's going to demand for a trade. They are going to have to trade him and kind of start a mini rebuild again with Ben Simmons as the focal point. Let's
So
move
there's
away from
another
there.
process to
Yeah.
trust again.
Oh, man of God. Well, I mean, it won't be now anywhere Joel Embiid goes, he wants to prove that he's in fact the best big man in the game, because there are plenty of people dragging that title with him right now, chief of whom is Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Let me even switch to him right now, because the Denver Nuggets are playing a crazy series against Utah Jazz. They won the first game in overtime, but game 2, game 3, they were completely destroyed by the Utah Jazz. It looks like Quinn Snyder, the coach of Utah, figured out exactly what to do, and he has completely wiped them out. Game 4 will be later on in about less than an hour from now. And if the Nuggets are going to have any hope of going forward, Nikola Jokic has to come really big. Unfortunately, he has to go up against one of the top candidates for Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, who has been incredible in the series. You know, the Miami Heat, they are pretty much safe to the semifinals, because right now the Indiana Pacers have zero answers. They had zero answers for them in all the games they played. Give credit to Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and the lads over there. We've spoken about the Los Angeles Lakers. I feel like they will win the next 2 games against the Portland Trail Blazers. I'm trying to see if there's any other series I am missing out right now. But the playoffs, in summary, because of our time, the playoffs have been intense. I like the bubble, trust me. It's unfortunate.
There's a team you've not mentioned. I didn't know in the series. The serial winners of the last recent NBA. I'm talking about.
Oh, the Toronto Raptors.
No, not Toronto Raptors. What's her name now? These guys are wearing yellow again. That Durant was playing.
That who?
That Durant was
the Golden State Warriors. They just won the 2nd overall pick in the NBA draft, in the lottery. So we are waiting there. I mean, those guys are dead. But trust me, Steph Curry is going to come back healthy. Klay Thompson is going to come back healthy. Draymond Green is going to come back healthy. They have the number 2 overall pick. They have Andrew Wiggins. And next season, the Warriors are going to be on fire. You can take that to the bank. Kobe Bryant would have celebrated his birthday today.
Yeah. And I saw the tribute that Snoop Dogg did for him. It was very beautiful. It was lovely. And a whole lot of other people paying tribute to him. Black Mamba really does live on. Now, but I'm going to put you on the spot on this. I don't know where the finals is going, who's going to play in the finals. But tell me, in your own overall view, what are the 2 teams that you think will play in the finals and likely winner?
I won't lie to you, man. The octopus needs food this time around. I can't even, because honestly, the way the playoffs are going, I can't even pinpoint who will get out of each conference. It's crazy. The teams are so close. I can say the Lakers, but the Mavericks are making life difficult right now for the Clippers. The Clippers are not even looking like the elite team we thought they would be. So let me just go out on the limb and say, I think the Los Angeles Lakers will make it out of the Western Conference. In the Eastern Conference, I'm going to say something a lot of people will disagree with. The Toronto Raptors will make it back to the NBA Finals.
Okay.
And I think the Lakers will win at the end of the day.
Okay, so I have answers to some of the questions that were raised earlier on in the Champions League. First off, Bayern Munich won the finals because they were tactically better than Paris Saint-Germain. Now, what they do, there's this thing we call double padding in football. No, double padding is the act of knowing that one-on-one, you can't beat this speed, you can't track them down. So what you do is you put 2 players on a single player at all time, but then with enough awareness to always go back to your position once you gain the ball. So if you look at every time that Neymar held the ball today, there was always 2 players on him. Yes, that switch in the second half was not good, but it was needed in the first half anyway. But the way it was required was not how they did it. If you look, the whole first 45 minutes, Mbappe and Neymar were just 4 meters apart from each other. So the same 2 players that are marking at Neymar were also marking at Mbappe. Mbappe wanted to use his speed and the flick and turn of Neymar to gain advantage, but that didn't work. So what I expected was for Mbappe to go close to Angel Di Maria, having committed Alphonso Davies to 1 yellow card, go close to him, use his flick and turn, that moment where he takes the ball and come in, into the weaker right of Alphonso Davies. He will not play the flick and turn with him, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. But I think Flick got it right with his double padding and double checking. If you notice, Thiago Silva had to work like 10 times harder than he normally does in every game because most, what's this guy now in the midfield was covering Kimmich and Alphonso Davies at all time whenever they lose the ball. The two central defenders were not under so much pressure because somehow Mbappe was drifting too wide. He made Boateng and the other guy free. There's Sule and I've forgotten the name of the other player in the midfield. Were helping to cover the wide areas based on the fact that everything Paris Saint-Germain did in their previous game was to drift wide, drag the opposition wide, and allow Mbappe with his speed to run in, and then the cross comes in, he gets advantage. Or Neymar, the cross comes in, is either Neymar is scoring or he's killing it down to give a very beautiful flick for an assist. That Bayern did not allow happen. Even though in the first half, they struggled because they had energy, they had strength, they had power. Bayern knew that if they can hold up Paris Saint-Germain for the whole first 45 and they don't score, they will definitely, find the goal one way or the other. And then there was a beautiful twist and turn in the first half from Lewandowski that hit the upright, didn't go in. But, those kind of moments are the moment that defines a game. And like I always say, in the Champions League, any team that beats Bayern or beat Barcelona ends up winning the Champions League. That, again, has proven itself to be right once again. And for Arsenal, let me ask you this, Ayo. Arsenal seems to have changed a bit. Before now, when it comes to transfer, Arsenal is deadbeat, waiting for the 11th hour, last-minute transfer, and all that. But all of a sudden, the good transfer deal that they did last season with Saliba has not come to play. Matri, now they might be getting the Gabriel deal across the line. Gabriel was almost going to Napoli, somewhere Man City. Some people mentioned Chelsea, and some other people mentioned Paris Saint-Germain, and even Manchester United. Do you think that somehow Arteta have come in and all of this internal shaking in Arsenal is helping? Because I was always of the opinion that Arsene Wenger, giving too much responsibility to himself, destroyed the structure at Arsenal. Do you think Arsenal is beginning to get it right?
I'm not particularly convinced yet, to be honest. They've gone so many years without making a push for the title in the Premier League. We've not seen them in the Champions League for a long time. And every year it looks like they make transfers. There was a time when Alexis Sanchez came into the club. Mesut Ozil came into the club, and we started feeling, okay, this might be the beginning of a new era of signing accomplished players into the team.
But they were not good defenders. In all of those times, they were not good defenders.
They were not good defenders. And even the guys you've mentioned, I mean, to be honest, as potentially potent as they may be, I think the jury is still out on them. I think a lot of Arsenal fans will expect some quality right now.
But then if you go back to all of Arsenal's success, every time Arsenal has won the league, every time Arsenal has done well, it was always built on excellent defending. From Tony Adams, moving forward to Campbell, Turi, Martin Keown, Steve Gold, Lee Deason, Ashley Cole, and the rest of them.
Until we entered Philip Senderos.
Then we start having Johan Giroud, Pascal Sagan, Philip Senderos. Precious, you will always laugh. Why would you not laugh? Now, first way from I make good climb now. In short, let's not talk again. This is where we pack up and go. Since Precious wants to laugh, laughing man, well done. I don't know who gave you the laughing gas, but laugh.
Oh my goodness!
I've won everything that is available in football.
I just finished me. Philip Senderos, Drogba's friend.
In short, Francis. Don't worry, we'll find a way to get to Alibaba, and you use one of his cards to do this, your bad carbon. I will work on it. Thank you very much. People who are mentioning Philip Senderos, God will bless you. Ayo, go back and watch the NBA. People, thank you very much, but don't forget to subscribe and share our content. God bless you. Thank you. Congratulations to FC Bayern. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.